Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So it's the beginning of May, which means it's time for a brand new mission inspiration over on our Facebook group. And this month, the prompts have been set by guest mission controller Anne Manzari Williamson, who's also one of the admins on the Mission Inspiration group. So Anne has put together a nice collection of prompts, a nice challenging, I think, this month, colour scheme and a set of nice words to inspire. So I'm going to have a go at doing my version of my art journal page using the prompts that Anna set, and then I'll show you the brief first, then I'll do the page, and then I'll join with you again at the end.
Welcome, Art Agent Specialists. Mission Controller A here. Your mission for May, should you choose to accept it, is as follows. Number 1, use bits of graph paper, binder paper, or composition book paper. Number 2, add jelly printed papers, stamped tissue paper, or stamped book text. Number 3, use one of the suggested paint colors. Number 4, use bits of twine, ribbon, lace, or yarn. Number 5, use at least 3 focal images. Number 6, make marks with household items. Number 7, add a suggested word or words for the month. Number 8, add cardboard or scrapbooking paper. The words for the month are flower, hike, climb, reach, accomplish, and succeed. The suggested colors are teal, lavender, and gray. And remember, this message will self-destruct in 3 seconds. Good luck!
So step number 1 is to use bits of graph paper or composition paper. So I'm using a torn sheet from an old composition book that I found lying around. It probably belongs to Ian. And this is a piece of 300 GSM or £140 watercolour cardstock from Bockingford. And I'm using the Ranger Triangle Collage glue stick just to stick the composition paper scraps down onto the watercolour card. Step number 2 is to add jelly paper or stamped book pages. And I'm going to use some book text paper that was sent to me in Happy Mail from Coe Stone recently. So again, I'm just going to stick these fragments down onto my watercolour cardstock using that triangle collage glue stick, and then I'm going to add some stamped images over the top. So the stamp set that I'm going to use is the Tim Holtz Classics number 7 stamp set, and I appreciate that I had it upside down there, but I will show it the right way up a bit later on. And this is a rocker block from Crafter's Companion, which makes it a bit easier, and a watering can archival ink from Ranger. Now its watering can is grey, which also fits in with the colour scheme that Anne has set. So I've inked up the stamp, and using that rocker block, which is very, very easy, you just rock it from top to bottom or from bottom to top or side to side, whichever way you want to do it, and you get a perfect impression each time. So I'm just going to ink up and then stamp around the border of the page, and then I'm going to grab another one of the stamps from the same stamp set just to fill in a few areas around and in the middle of the page, using the same watering can grey archival ink throughout. And if you couldn't see the stamp set before because I held it upside down, there you go, it's the right way up now. So there you see, I'm just filling in the areas, just adding some of those stamped images where I think they're going to be needed in the background. So step number 3, it says use one of the suggested paint colours. Well, I've already used the archival ink which has grey in it, so I decided I was going to use the teal and add some of that colour into the background. So for that I have the Townhouse Teal acrylic paint from Indigo Blue, and I'm just going to add some of the paint onto my glass cutting mat. Then I'm going to spritz in some water, make it nice and fluid, and then add a brushed colour wash just into the background of the page, and then try and unify some of the elements that are in there already. So I've already got the composition paper, the book text and the stamping, and this will help just to blend it all together. So I'm happy with the colour in the background, so I'm just going to have a quick tidy up on my craft mat, make sure I don't stick my elbow in that teal paint, and then I'm going to bring out the heat gun to make sure it's all nice and dry before I move on to the next step. So step number 4 is to use bits of twine, ribbon, lace or yarn. Now I tried to find some. I've obviously had a tidy up. I can't find any anywhere. So I'm going to use washi tape instead. So in lieu of the ribbon or lace, I'm going to use the washi tape and create some clusters around my page. I'm only going to do a few of them. So just adding the last piece of washi tape there, and I'm very happy with the little clusters that I've created using those different types of washi tape. Time to move on to step number 5, which is to use at least 3 focal images. And I've got just the thing. I've got a set of 3 wise monkeys, which I've got on my computer. So I've printed them out on my laser printer and just cut them out, leaving a little white border all the way around. I'm going to use the matte medium matte collage page from Aliens to stick them down. So I've got Hear No Evil, See No Evil, Speak No Evil. And I'm going to stick them down in that order. But I do make a little bit of a mistake in a moment because I stick down See No Evil at the end. Wrong place. So I do realise in a moment, and then I peel it back off again and stick it next to its companion on the left. So there, I've just realised I've stuck him down in the wrong place. So just using a craft knife, I'm just going to quickly peel him off. He's still got the glue on the back, and I'm just going to stick him down next to Hear No Evil. And then I'm just going to go over it once again with that matte medium and then make sure it's all nice and stuck down. And then I've left a nice little space for me to put Speak No Evil. And then again, just go over the top just to seal him in place. Of course, when I'm happy that they are thoroughly sealed, I'm going to bring up my heat gun and give it a nice gentle warming to make sure it's all nice and dry before moving on to step number 6. Step number 6 is to make marks with household items. So I'm going to use some lavender paint. This is the lavender acrylic paint from Design Objectives here in the UK. I'm going to add some onto my craft mat. I'm just going to put a small blob onto the craft mat and then grab some household items. This is one of those items we have for holding soap onto the side of a sink. Yeah, I know, it's like one of those old-fashioned things that you don't see very often. So I grabbed it for mat making when I saw one. I'm just going to paint a little bit of that lavender paint on, dab in, and then just start making marks. Next up, I have a little wooden handle or a little knob from an old drawer set, and this makes some nice wide circles. So I'm just going to daub a couple of those around the page too. Next up, I'm going to use the lid from a tin of spray deodorant. So a nice wide circle. And of course, to finish off, the ubiquitous bubble wrap, or buble wrap as is known in our house. So once I'm happy, bring out the heat gun, get it all nice and dry before moving on to the next step. So step number 7 is to add a word or words for the month. I've chosen the word accomplish. So I have a quote which goes with my 3 wise monkeys, which I'm going to stick down using that collage page that I've used already. Now these words were just printed off on the same sheet that I printed off the wise monkeys. So literally I've just typed them in on my computer and then printed using my laser printer. So the quote reads, observe, speak the truth, listen, or you'll never accomplish anything. So once they're stuck down and sealed, I'm just going to bring up the heat gun once more just to make sure they're all dry before moving on to the final step, which is to add cardboard, scrapbooking paper or strips. Now I've got some corrugated cardboard strips from an old box that I'm going to stick down onto my page. I'm just going to use that triangle collage glue stick once again. I've only got 2 or 3, well actually there's 4 pieces of the corrugated cardboard, so I'm just going to stick 2 in the top left and a couple in the bottom right. I love adding corrugated cardboard, it just gives some of that lovely 3D texture onto an art journal page. So now my bits of corrugated cardboard are stuck down onto the page. I wanted to bring some more of that grey into the foreground. I have the grey in the background from the stamping, but I wanted just to bring a little bit into the foreground. So I'm going to grab some new grey acrylic paint from Indigo Blue. This is part of their Junk and Disorderly range, and it's called Steam Whistle. So it's Steam Whistle Grey acrylic paint, and it goes with the colour scheme that's been suggested by Anne. So I'm just going to mix a little bit of the grey paint with some water to create a colour wash, and I'm just going to put some of that over the top of the corrugated cardboard just to pick out the texture from that corrugation. And then I'm just going to add a few bits of the grey paint around the page and on the border, and also add some grey splatters too, just to kind of unify it all together. The grey splatters that I've added to the page are actually quite subtle. You can't really see them from this kind of distance on the page, but you'll be able to see them in the close-up photos at the end. So once I'm happy with that grey paint, I'm going to bring out the heat gun and then just make sure it's all nice and dry. Now we're dry, it's time just to add my signature and the date of creation. I'm using the number 5 Pigma Micron pen from Sakura. And then I'm going to call this page complete. Took quite a challenging art journal page from me this month. Those of you that have followed me for a while know that purple, and by extension lavender, is not one of my favourite colours, but teaming it up with the teal and the grey does kind of work. I'm actually quite impressed with that colour scheme. So I really enjoyed doing this art journal page, and I just love those monkeys. So if you've enjoyed it and want to play along too, then don't forget you can join the Mission Inspiration Facebook group by simply visiting the link in the description area below, or just typing in that address that's on the screen at the moment. So my thanks to Anne for setting the prompts for this month, and if you have enjoyed my video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share the video with all your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. I will see you all again real soon. Bye for now.